Guys, welcome to the first episode of Your Bodybuilding Plug with Santi Aragon.
You forgot the Cuban missile.
I'm getting to it. The Cuban missile! We should have a little missile noise going.
I know.
The little characters just land.
I mean, people stopped calling you by 3D.
Yeah, I'm not 3D. I'm like, I'm Slim D.
Slim D. I know you've been doing keto because we talked about it the other day.
Yeah.
How do you? I mean, I've dieted before using keto, and yes, granted, I do feel great on it. But then once I introduce carbs back in, I feel like death.
Well, the thing with this is, I would never be able to do this for a bodybuilding scenario if I was training and metabolism was ramped up and trying to consume that much, that caloric intake with fats and protein. It would be almost impossible, I think, to be honest. I think for bridging with the diet and changing things up to get someone in shape, that's a different story. But to live on this diet, if I was weight training and doing cardio and everything, there's no fucking way.
Yeah.
I just need to get my weight down to where I needed to be, and then I can start doing training again and getting back into a regular diet again. But it was never going to happen, me consuming 6 meals a day of carbs and proteins and fat.
No.
It was never, I just kept, my weight just kept going up. As I
was going to say, you just continue to, you could literally do nothing and still get bigger.
Yeah.
It would never downsize.
It was never downsizing. So for me to be able to cut the muscle, I even talked to Palumbo about it because I asked Palumbo, I'm like, how long did it take you to get down in size? He told me 10 years. So, I mean, imagine you see how big he is now.
Yeah, he was enormous.
So I did the fast track of starvation and keto with no working out, no nothing, off everything for 7 to 8 months, and it got me here. But I'm still heavy. I'm not skinny, but I'm like, from where if I went from bodybuilding body to this, it was nothing drastic. It was maybe 40, 30 pounds. But considering the fact that I got to 350 or plus, and not doing training 3 times a week, eating whatever the fuck I wanted, not really on any gear, just like testosterone, that's what happens. I mean, you just fall off, it's the name of the game. I mean,
it's crazy how some people, like in your scenario, you stopped training, you were eating whatever you wanted, and your weight went up. That's happened to me before, like, after 10, and this, 10 years plus of competing, you're going to have a year where you're just going to be like, I fucking hate bodybuilding. I don't want to do this anymore. And then you literally, I've stopped cold turkey on everything before. But in my case, I just lose weight and size, and I start looking like a normal person.
Which is not a bad thing, though. I mean, there's pros and cons to both things.
Yeah. No,
listen, it's my fault too. Listen, if I watched my weight closer, because obviously it crept up to 350. I saw it happening. I didn't do anything about it. I could have started doing more cardio and stopped eating like a savage. But as your
favorite person, Greg, would say, put the fucking fork down.
Yeah, and I just kept feeding myself more and more. And then at the time, also, the glucose problems were all stirred up. My anxiety was all fucked up, so I was stress eating. And then and then I would not work out some days and weeks at a time. It was not structured at all. So
How much weight total have you lost already?
110.
What?
I lost the whole person, dude.
Wow.
I'm in 240s right now, and I was over 350 when I started this. So
what do you expect is going to happen? Like, what's your goal weight?
I don't care about getting any lighter now. I feel like I could run a marathon. I feel like.
Okay.
I mean, I couldn't, but I feel like I could.
You feel like you feel healthy. I mean,
man, I feel incredible. So, I just want to make sure I'm hovering at this weight now because I'm introducing a little more food now.
Okay.
I was only eating like twice a day before. I was eating breakfast and dinner, and that was it. So now I'm adding a third meal just to see where my weight goes a little bit because I know when I go back to the gym, I'm gonna have to eat more.
I was gonna say what's gonna happen once you get to the gym because chances are you're gonna put weight on the scale.
I know, and that's why I wanted to get it. I wanted to bury the weight as far
all the way as low.
So then if I blew up 10, 15, it's gonna
happen.
1 week I went to the gym. I'm not even lying. I'm not even bragging. I went to the gym 3 times. I put on 12 pounds. And I did not eat anything more, but I just starved. I was like literally chomping at my fingernails. I was so hungry. Chugging soda all day and coffee just to kill my appetite. And I put on 12 pounds, not eating any more. My body holding on to it. And I was like, and I swelled up too. Like my girlfriend's like, you got big again. I'm like, fuck. So I stopped again. And I was like, all right. That's when I hit 260. And I was like, oh, I can definitely do it now. Nope. No. So I'm trying to get like under 240. That'd be goals. But I haven't been able to like keep it there. It goes like 238, then 245, then 240. It's all over the place. So I'm gonna hold it here for a little bit, and then trust me, I want to go back to the gym and train at least work out. It's boring. Like
I was gonna say, just doing cardio is kind of shitty.
It's so shitty. It's like
it's kind of,
plus like there's nothing to look forward to. Like I just work, and then go to sleep. And especially now, there's nothing open still here, dude. Like. Indoor dining still not allowed. Like most.
Wow, it's that. It's really that. It's like that there.
Yeah, it still sucks.
Man, I'm like complaining because I have to sit outside and eat in a restaurant. Nothing's open there, so.
So like, plus the gym's never opened here. Luckily the gym's not a problem for me if I want to go. But nothing like the gyms aren't open. The stores at the malls are still not open either. Like there's only a couple. It's weird, dude. So like. It's not normal. The traffic's not normal. Like it's still very weird. So
everything that you said that is not happening there is good here. Like we're allowed to do everything. I just went to a mall last week. It wasn't full, but there was still people. There was still people in there, and there were stores that were open. Limited people that can walk in and stuff. But what's so sad is you're walking in the mall and you see the empty. Lots of
that's how it is here.
Really sad.
Tons of them, bro.
It's not really sad.
There's definitely way more clothes than there is open right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's frustrating though because like I forget and I literally leave the house. I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta go do this. And I get there and I'm like, oh my god, you're not even fucking here anymore. I tried to go to Dick's the other day just to go buy some underwear and bullshit. They're not even open. I drove 20 minutes, nothing there.
Online, everything's online now.
Go back on the computer again,
dude. It's really bizarre. Like just seeing those empty stores is just like man, and some of them are like big name stores that you see in every mall. I'm like man, they're struggling. So. It's kind of like it makes me feel that even with all this that still I know that your business is doing extremely well too, that we're lucky enough that fitness competing got hit, but I don't really think that fitness in general really took a hit from this.
I mean, if I didn't have the supplement store now that I just acquired in the supplement line that I started, I'd be fucked. I mean,
oh yeah,
like coaching, that was my bread and butter for the last 4 years. And that took a 50% plus.
Oh yeah.
I mean, honestly, I'm probably being nice about it. It's probably more than that. So people don't have the money. The gyms aren't open. I mean, that's simple. It's very simple to see why. So especially, I think it would have been okay if the gyms weren't as closed as long, but since the gyms were closed, no one wants to hire a coach or anything. There's no point.
Of course. But then that opens the door for next year.
Yeah.
Next year, every single person is going to compete. Like everybody.
It's gonna be crazy.
Everybody that wanted to compete this year that weren't able to, they're going to compete next year. Plus all the people, plus new people.
Yeah.
It's going to be madness next year. How many competitors are going to be competing at these shows? That's why I'm taking the year off. Like I'm already going on vacation.
You should have like the virtual beach background.
Get a green screen.
Yeah, but man. It's fucking, it's, you know, and I just saw that they moved not to go in the bodybuilding shows, but they moved the Cal Pro now to Vegas. I just saw too.
Uh-huh.
So
well, that's a good sign for the Olympia.
Yeah, I hope so.
Because if they're moving it to Vegas and they're allowed to have an event, that's a good sign. Because you know, I was even very surprised. Talking about the Tampa Pro, has it already been? It's been a week and a half.
Yeah,
almost 2 weeks.
Yeah,
there was a lot of competitors.
I was gonna say, what was the environment like and everything with everybody?
Everybody was just happy, you know, happy. Everybody was grateful, you know. You see a lot of people obviously going up to Tim and, you know, saying, you know, thank you, Tim, for, you know, I know that this must have been hard, and I could just imagine the hurdles that you had to jump through to make sure that this show still happened. And I think that every competitor can kind of, you know, say thanks for you know, risking it. I mean,
right.
That shit could have gone shut down at any given point. There, somebody walking in and saying, well, there's too many people in here, we have to shut this down.
I heard the cops were like fucking hawking people.
Really?
Right. I heard, that's what I heard from everybody.
Well, I know that inside of when we were watching the show, like they had people walking around making sure that everybody that was seated inside of this in the auditorium watching had a mask on. Unless you were like drinking something or eating something, but you had to, like, they came up to you right away and they said, put your mask on or we're just going to ask you to leave, and that's it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Which, I mean, what's the big deal? You know?
No, I mean, if you're being a dick and everyone out there is wearing it, then you're a douchebag. I mean,
yeah, everybody's wearing it. Just wear it and enjoy the show. And, you know, this is not even about the people in the stands. It's about the people that are on stage. Yeah. So don't make it about yourself.
Well, you said so you had your little incident there. We already talked about that. Though.
Yeah, I know. So some people that follow me,
you had a mask on.
Yeah. So I passed out, but I didn't get COVID.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. So for most people that didn't know, you know, that maybe weren't following me or whatever, there was a situation backstage that had to deal with my glucose levels there. Just to make a long story short, since most people heard it already, I was backstage pumping up, and all of a sudden, like my lips started getting numb, and I broke like a huge sweat, and I started doing push-ups, and when I got back up, goodbye, Timber. Yeah, I don't know if it's not there anymore, but I had this huge bruise.
Yeah, I remember when you showed me on the.
Yeah, I had a huge bruise from falling through a door. Yeah, I fell through a door.
It's fucking retarded.
They went ahead. The medic lady gave me some glucose and all that stuff and a ton of fluids. And
did you have your mask on when you hit the ground?
Yeah, no, I had it on. Yeah.
They had to rip it off and then shut it.
I'm assuming because when I finally realized what was going on, you know, I didn't have the mask on anymore, and everybody was just staring at me like.
Hold on, were you in your trunks too? Just fucking head like keeled over?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Tan got all fucked up. There was tan on the door, on the carpet. You know, all the oil. I had like, you know, on the floor of shows, there's always like rice cake crumbs. I had rice cake crumbs on me and shit.
That's fucking horrible.
Yeah, man. So it sucked because, you know, I you know, you work so hard and then something so stupid like that happens. And, you know, most people are going to, were you taking insulin or whatever? I have not taken insulin to actually go into a show yet. I mean, have I wanted to try it before? Yeah, but you know, sometimes you don't need it.
No, you don't need it.
But you know, after reflecting on the situation, you know, the only thing that I can think of is, we were on such low carbs for a good amount of time leading into the show that once we introduced carbs back up, it's like my body just kind of went in overdrive. And it's happened to me in the past before where I'm dry and I only eat literally 200 grams of carbs. And then I start looking watery out of nowhere. And then I remember going to sleep at night and stuff. And we took down water to maybe a gallon and a half the day before, which is normal.
Yeah.
And we didn't take any diuretics or anything like that, but I was sweating like a motherfucker at night.
It's so uncomfortable.
I was sweating. I had all the sheets off and, I had my long shirt or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just remember sweating so much and my body was so hot.
Oh.
And that's the only thing I could think of. Yeah, that's the only thing I could think of. And, glucose was probably running sky high the entire time that we were eating carbs. And then goodbye.
Yeah.
Woo!
And especially when you were pumping up, dude, forget about it. That was all you needed.
No, that's all you needed. Just to exert a little bit of energy, and that was it.
Your glucose went to shit right there.
Yeah. And so she took it. She took the glucose reading, and it was 30.
Oh God! Yeah. The lowest I've ever felt when I was still stable, because I passed out before too, but at my house. But 40 something was and that was I was delirious. I mean, it was the worst trip ever, you know. And
tell me that when your glucose goes down, somebody could be speaking to you and you recognize that they're in front of you saying something, but you can't say anything.
You have no energy. It's so hard. You can't.
It's weird.
Yeah, you can't. You're just holding yourself up. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Bro, that's when I was going through that whole glucose problem the last 2 years. That happened probably 6 times, 7 times. Where the ambulance came a couple times, but I remember those distinctly because I'd be my girlfriend would be like, "What do you need?" I'd be like, it was like I was too drugged up or something, on K or Molly or something. I couldn't talk.
It's nuts, man. It feels so weird. And then you have a little bit of sugar, and then bloop.
Yeah, you're just praying for it to hit. You're like, why isn't it hitting?
and then you're back to normal, if nothing happened.
The lip numbing though is what freaks me out the most though. I don't know, the tingling in my face.
I know it feels like the tingling in the mouth. It feels like once you're done doing a line and then you take the swipe and you like Novocaine or whatever, lidocaine. Yeah,
that's what I know. It's getting bad though. Is when the lips and the face start going weird. And I'm like, oh shit, it's not going to come back. You know?
And once that sweat breaks,
it's
over.
People don't get it though. They want to fuck around all the time on insulin and all this other shit. I'm like, you don't want to go there. Trust me, it's not pretty.
No, a lot of people just get especially, and most of my followers, which I enjoy speaking to them because they're much younger. So I, just like you, we speak from experience, and I speak from a place, and you do too, since we started competing at a very young age.
Yeah.
So we're don't do these things because you really, the benefit from it is not very much.
No.
You use it once you're at the tippity top, that there's not much else you can do, and then you use those last things. But starting off, these are very advanced type things that even the conversation of insulin and even growth hormone is so past what they're even what they should be even looking into.
Yeah.
That they think it's a miracle thing. It's this anabolic secret that if they take insulin, they're going to gain 40 pounds of muscle.
I always tell people it's just like when you upgrade a motor on a vehicle. If you buy a Lamborghini and you add an intake to it, you're not going to notice it because the car is already super powered. It's so minimal. So it's the same thing when you add these powerful drugs to a body that's not ready for it. You're just not. Your physique's
you're not primed for it. Your
physique's not built ready for that. And it's not going to do anything to your physique because you're not even at that level yet. But when you do it, when you're there, those big things make a big difference on your body. Though
I agree.
It's just everyone wants to use everything in the beginning, and I'm like, what are you leaving left at that point?
No,
it's just
that's how it is, man. That's how it is, and on top of that they're so these people are so they're not educated on it, and even to the point that I'm like, okay, so you're thinking about insulin. All right, tell me about your diet. Tell me about what you're currently using. They don't know how many calories they're eating a day. They don't know how many grams of carbs they're eating a day. They don't know how many milligrams of whatever they're taking weekly. Like, if you don't know those things, those little details, how are you going to fuck around with something that could potentially hurt you that much? Like, you're not ready.
They have no idea of the nutrition behind it. That's the scariest thing to me. I try to. Every one of client signs up and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna do insulin, right?" I'm like, "No. Why would I?"
No.
I don't even know what you're taking, and you're already talking about insulin. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, stop. Like, I'm not trying to insult you, but you wouldn't even place in a local show. Like, stop. You know, it's granted, and I speak from experience. Like, I didn't even do that when I was a kid. I knew that was not for me in the beginning. You know what I mean? As I got older, yes, I tried things out, but then I realized, fuck, this is a waste of time, my money, my health. I'll wait till I'm further along to do all these things.
Of course.
You know, but
most, like I say, just like what you said, as an amateur, I never knew anything about insulin. I didn't even know that was a thing, you know, and I didn't even growth hormone. I feel like for some, that's so advanced, you know.
Right.
If you can be a good amateur and get by with the least, when you turn pro, then you start introducing these things, because if you're taking everything already as an amateur, by the time you get to the pro level, you have no other tricks.
No,
you have nothing.
Left. You've maximized everything.
Maxed everything out, and the only thing that you can do now is do more.
Yeah, do up. Yeah, and that's
more of what you're doing.
And that's when like horse racing. That's when you're pushing that old horse too hard, and it just fucking snaps the leg, Achilles tendon, and that's it. They got to kill it. That's what happens to you. You just kill your body. Literally.
Yeah, I have clients before, and I look at them and I get them ready for a show. Let's say it's their first or second show. I know that I could bring them in way better, but it's going to take a lot more things for them to do.
Right.
So I try to explain it to them. I'm like, look, we can take it to the very max, but in my opinion, since this is your first or second show, let's go with the very, very minimal, and let's just get better as time goes on.
Yeah. Versus
you coming in, you throwing them with everything, and then they're fucked already for they're done.
Well, the thing is too, it's they think that because they add Tren or Masteron or Winstrol or whatever, they're gonna look different that day of the show. But I'm like, it has nothing to do with that. You don't have the muscle there to even be defined come show day yet. You're not even developed yet in those areas. You don't even have the intricate details that you're wanting to see that you look at online. Doesn't even exist on your body yet. So Tren is not going to magically bring out the striations in your pecs.
No, that takes time.
Like, that shit all develops over time. All those little intricate details and serratus and your abs and your quads getting separated, like, all that comes in time. The drugs don't do that. I'm sorry. It's like, if I take Tren, I'm going to be like, no, you don't have it. You're soft. Your skin is thick as fuck. Like, it's not going to be there.
And the moral of all of this, the people that are listening, is that you have bodybuilding. You have to take your time. Yeah. You really have to take your time, and the more years that you do it, and the more time that you're consistent, the better you're going to look. Over time, your muscle's going to be more mature over time. Your training's going to get better over time. Your diet and nutrition, you're going to learn more about what your body can handle and what it can't handle over time. So it's like that's always like the biggest tip that I always give new people is be patient.
Yeah.
Fucking patient.
If you have the genetics, it's going to happen. I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to happen. I mean, it's just having the patience to do it over, years and years and years. It's not, that's why I tell people, get your career together and do it parallel to that. Don't just waste your time on bodybuilding. It's not going to amount to anything that you're going to be able to, unless you monetize it and go out and do something with it, it's not going to monetize itself. It didn't do that back in the day either. You had to go out and get it.
But even that takes time. Yeah. I feel like most of the successful people that are in our circle of bodybuilding that have created businesses or anything like that, they made a name for themselves on the stage.
Oh yeah.
And that right there takes time. Even before you create a product, you have to create an image, or you have to create, some type of resume where you're on stage, and then now you take that, and now, okay, let me take that energy and let me move it over here.
The biggest mistake they all make is like, oh, I'm gonna get my pro card and then launch my brand. Like, what are you launching? No one knows who you are. Just because you got a pro card now, you don't launch a brand. That's not the way. I don't know where the handbook came out about this, but everybody says the same thing to me. Oh, I'm just going to do a national show and I'm going to quit and I'm going to come out with my protein powder. I'm like, okay, that's a great fucking plan. Go ahead.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. You're going to sell
that used to work. If you had the money, that used to work back before social media.
Right. And now social media, it exposed all the assholes in the supplement business. It did.
Because before social media, being an amateur sometimes was even more of a better idea business-wise than being a pro.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe you weren't getting a huge contract or anything like that, but guess what? You were getting a lot of publicity going into shows. A ton of publicity.
Yep.
And since there was so little avenues, only certain avenues that you can see which bodybuilders were getting ready, the guys that were in the top were always on there. They were always on there.
That's where I built my career on the amateur level. I didn't have a pro career. I did one show, quit. My career was built on my amateur level because of the contracts I had and the exposure I had, and that's what people thought I was a pro for so long and competed. I'm like, no, those are amateur shows, dude. Just because I had all that shit going on, and that's what it was like, though. It took years to turn fucking pro. Forget about it. You did the same thing. It's just so different. Everything is so different now, but it's all good. I think it's going to do a full circle, and eventually things will come back. It has to, because bodybuilding needs that backbone still.
I'm pretty thankful for how the industry is right now, meaning that you can use your platform to create a product and then sell it. And if people like the product, and if you like what we do, is we speak truth. Yeah. And that's why they trust what we say, because we don't bullshit them.
Right.
And if we tell them that this is the way to do it, and they believe you, that, everything else that you're telling them is not total bullshit, you can create a successful brand or successful business that way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and it just, you have to, I think a lot too many people try to be something they're not. Like, you have to have your niche. Like, I told people all the time, like, I'm into hardcore shit. And that's why I came out with hardcore products. I'm not going to sell, teas and fucking herbal, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not selling, herbal supplements,
I wanted some herbal digestive
It's just like tummy teas and fucking detox teas. Like, people would laugh at me. You know what I mean?
Every time that I was going to take a shit, I wanted to think about you.
Just like, I love when people come to me like, come out with a tea. I'm like, what? A tea?
I don't know anything about teas.
I don't either. I just know I hate them. I hate tea. I like coffee.
That's another thing that you have to come up with a product or something that you know about. You don't want to, like, honestly, I know nothing about chemistry or, like what you do. So I don't know anything about SARMs.
Right.
I really don't know anything about SARMs. So for me to actually go and then, I'm going to create a SARMs brand, right. I know nothing about them.
Right.
I don't know anything about them.
But people try to do that. That's the thing. They try to.
Oh, it's because there's money there.
Yeah, they try to front that image, but eventually all that stuff comes to the peak, and they're like, oh, that person's fucking doesn't know shit. He doesn't know anything between anything, and a lot of it, like you said, it's all built organically, throughout your career, your image. And eventually, I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do 5 years ago. I had no fucking clue, you know what I mean? But I always coached people. I always relied on that. And that was what I just eventually funneled into something else. And everything funnels into something else. And, I probably won't even be doing coaching in 5 years, most likely, because it'll be funneled into something else. So
tell me a little bit, because again, I don't know much about SARMs, or I know all about your brand because I follow you, so I know all about your brand. But tell me a little bit more about the new product that you just, what was it, last week that it came out?
Yeah, it was last week. So we had the original one. The hydronics was the original site enhancement. That was your water-based site enhancement instead of using an oil base. Much safer.
Less painful, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt at all. And I don't want to say, I never sell the fact that it's permanent because it's water-based, but you do get an extreme amount of fullness and roundness and everything else that same thing you would get from an oil base, but the site enhancement was great because it would disperse and it would be absorbed and would help keep your fascia stretched longer. So, when you train, obviously the whole thing is to get as much blood in the muscle. That would help stretch the fascia even more because the hyaluronic acid that we had in there would keep the muscle stretched for an extended period of time. So then obviously the longer the muscle fascia stretch, the more growth, et cetera, et cetera. That was how the site enhancement works. So we came out with a pump product because a lot of people were like, oh, I just want to take a pre-workout and just have a pump. I'm too scared of site enhancement. So I was like, okay. I saw the angle that there was people that don't want the site enhancement thing, but they want the pump. So we used a much, 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 I don't want to use the word weaker because it's not weaker, but it's the cell size of the hyaluronic acid that we're using is much smaller. So therefore, it's not long lasting like the one.
But it metabolizes faster.
Your body breaks it down much faster. So it's in and out of your body. It's just for basically increasing the pump and volumizing the muscle and telling your body to send blood to that muscle while you're training it much faster, and it's in and out of your body fast. So it's not going to sit there and keep volumizing and building in your muscle. This is just for the for the moment. Get a great pump, maybe pre-stage before you go to the club.
Yeah, I heard you say that about just before that you get on stage.
Yeah,
that would be a
product. Yeah, people used to use the other one. They load it into the show, which is great because then it's going to give that same effect. It's not going to deform the muscle. It doesn't sit where you shoot it. It disperses evenly. It's really fun to use, actually. It works it's actually crazy how well it works.
I'm still pretty lean, so I'm going to have to try it.
Yeah, I'll send you. I have a whole bunch coming here. I'll send you some.
Yeah, I'll try it out and see what it's like.
The pre-workout one, we put some B12 in it, and we put a pump blend. It's got citrulline and all that shit in it, niacin, all that stuff that you put in a pre-workout that you drink. We put an injectable for. So therefore, you get immediate results. I mean, as soon as you pin yourself, you've got to work out because you feel the blood, because the body signals, shit, there's a chemical in my muscle. I got to send blood there. And then you get all this rush of blood. And it's just and you start pumping, bro. It's so
if I was going to train arms, let's say bis and tris,
you just pin.
Where would how much?
You're just going to put 1 cc in each bicep. It doesn't matter where, because it's like I said, it's going to
disperse it.
Yeah, and people think this is another thing too. There's a misconception that we have the inner and outer bicep that you have to shoot both heads every time. I tell people there's no wall there like Trump, and it's oh no, you can't come in.
There's no Trump wall.
Yeah, there's no Trump wall, so you can't come in hyaluronic acid. I tell people, just put it in your bicep anywhere you want. You feel comfortable, just put it in there. Same with your shoulders. There's 3 heads. You can put it anywhere in your shoulder. It's going to work. It's going to disperse. It's not like a synthol, oil, site enhancement where it does centralize where you put it. It will capsulate and pocket size right where you put it because that's how it's supposed to work. But the long-term effect of that is that, you put an oil, just like you're doing your injections, obviously steroids have a chemical in there that allows it to disperse and absorb so you don't have scar tissue building up over the fascia and everything, but oil's supposed to sit there. So what happens is it builds layers on your fascia, and it encapsulates the muscle after a while. Too much. And then what it does is it kills blood flow, and now you're not getting the same blood flow as you did. So I killed this bicep and my right calf from all the oil I used to do.
Wow.
I used to backload 2 cc's of gear and then put a cc of oil. I would do that every day, bro. But I had a pretty sick looking bicep and calf, but eventually, I overdid it. I hit a nerve one day, fucked up shit, not pinning too much, and then it encapsulated. Now, this arm never I always had to fill it up. It never looked right. So that's what could happen, though. People overdo things with the oil. It's only the oil thing works, but you got to do it very short and fast and just to fill up before you go on stage or something. If you have a bicep or something. But the water-based stuff you can use all year round and keep helping grow your muscles. healthy wise. You know, you're not damaging this muscle cells. So
And what size needles?
Smallest you can use insulin needles.
You can.
Oh, it goes right through.
Wow!
It's literally like shooting backwater, bro. It's that thin. It goes.
Oh, wow!
Through. You don't feel anything.
No, that's not.
Literally, you'll feel your muscles starting to like.
Because I've never done site enhancements before. I'm too scared to even take 1 cc in my shoulder.
Right.
I don't remember the last time that it must have been 10 years ago where I did it here, and I'm like, nope, I'm done. I feel like I'm gonna hit a bone or something.
Yeah, you're like, oh shit.
I'm terrified. But if you're saying a needle, that's easy.
It goes right through. I mean, it's doop, and then it'll work out.
And you could do your quads too.
That's a big muscle.
I know.
I suggest to save it for your detail muscles, like your delts, your arms, maybe Terry's muscles, stuff like that. People pin their traps and shit. I don't suggest that at all. I've been down that.
You got a fucking dart in your neck.
I've pinched nerves in my neck and stuff like this for weeks, bro, because I was an asshole. Calves hurt like a motherfucker. You know, I would stick it to like arms and people do pecs. You're okay with pecs, but I don't like it's just too close to my heart and shit. I'm not. It literally feels like you're killing yourself.
Figuratively and metaphorically speaking.
It's just not like. Listen, we have some sick fucks out there that probably do it, but I like the smaller muscle groups. It works well, but it's no pain. I mean, that's the best part. I mean,
I definitely am gonna try it.
Plus, with the B12 in it, you like get a little. You get a little. You know, it feels good. I mean, it's a good feeling. So. I mean, it just adds a little like dark side to the whole pump product side. You know, it's like, I get to inject it, you know, instead of it's just like it's fun.
Speaking, let me ask you this: changing gears a little bit. Speaking of site enhancements and big ass fucking arms and stuff, what do you think about Phil Heath coming to the Olympia this year?
So, you know, it's kind of weird to say that I became pretty close to him over the last year. And, you know, I'm trying to look at it from a non-biased point of view because I've always been a Phil Heath fan since he won the Colorado Pro in 2006. Like, I've watched Phil Heath since then. And, you know, I'm a hardcore bodybuilding critic. You know what I mean? I love bodybuilding. So I knew that motherfucker was going to win anyway when I first saw him in Colorado and in New York Pro, actually, up close. And I was like, damn, that guy's going to look fucking crazy when he fills out. And now I look at it and I'm like, wow, now like he's not young anymore, but he's not old. You know, he's turning 41, I think, on his birthday on the Olympia. And I'm like, fuck, man. I'm like, I hope he's not over the hump because obviously I haven't seen what he looks like because, you know, it's been off like, 2 years now?
Yeah, it's going to be
not off, but not on the stage.
Yeah.
I'm just not. I know he's genetically gifted beyond gifted, you know, like he's beyond gifted. I just hope the age isn't caught up because we've seen some guys, you know, I'm just coming from the most negative point of view. I'm trying to see it from all different sides. Could age be a factor? I don't know. I don't think so because his genetics was just so fucking superior. And then him missing the stage for 2 years, could he miss his mark because he never missed his mark before? You know, I'm worried about that. And I'm just worried about, you know, like just normal shit that happens during prep, you know, like, is that going to be a factor, you think? You know, just coming back for the one show and that's it. Like,
do you think that his midsection, which was, you know, the topic, would you think that would
I can 100% say his midsection's fine. I saw it. It's fine. That's fine. That's perfect. I mean, he's lean right now, you know, the 260s or so, whatever he weighs. I said the same. I mean, I told him that personally. I said, I'm like, you're not too old, right? He's like, hell no. Wait till you see what I look like. I'm like, okay, prove me wrong. Like, we're just joking around. Like, prove me wrong, you know? And then I'm just like, you've been on stage for 2 years. Aren't you worried about that? He's like, no, hell no. I'm like, okay. So then prove me wrong, bitch, you know? So it's fun. It's like, it's a fun thing. It's not like me being like, oh, he's not going to do it. I think he's going to smoke everybody personally, but I don't want to say that obnoxiously because Brandon is a great champion. I do think Brandon's great, but we haven't seen Brandon ever stand next to Phil, though. That's the thing, you know.
Well, one thing that I'm saying is Brandon made such strides from one year to another.
Right.
What is he going to look like now with another year?
Do you think him not being in Kuwait, though, will be a factor? He has 17 kids. I don't know if that's a problem. He's all, well, you have 6 kids or something?
So, yeah, this is me speaking if it happened to me, okay? Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that you're not in a place where you're away from all distractions. That's one. That's the negative part.
Right.
But the one thing is that since he was there for so much time, he knows already what the intensity and the way that he should be training. He knows every time that he goes into the gym, I swear to God that after being a year there and being fucking tortured,
right?
You know when you walk into the gym, the standard of what your training has to be like. So can he replicate that? Being here, can he replicate, hey, this is what a real leg day is supposed to be. This is what a real back day is supposed to be like. Sometimes that, for a competitor, it just takes one time for them to see what a real leg day feels like and say, shit, like everything that I've been doing in the past is a piece of crap. Right. So I have to remember this pain. I have to remember this intensity every single time and try to replicate it to the best that I can every time that I step into the gym.
That's what I kind of was saying before with Phil not being in that zone for 2 years. I hope he can get into that zone, which I think he will. He's an athlete at heart. But those are just the questions I had as a analyst from far away. Like, same with Brandon. Can Brandon tune into that same, the mode, you're a bodybuilder. Yeah. Can he tune into that laser-like focus that he had in Kuwait? Can Phil turn into that laser-like focus he had 2 years ago? Does he have the drive and determination to go there? Those are all questions I have as a journalist looking at bodybuilding from a criticism perspective. I want to look at all angles, the positives and the negatives. And then you have Flex Lewis. Where does he fall in this whole fucking equation? 20 pounds heavier.
He's like the dark horse in this.
He's got nothing to lose. That's like you going open too. Like nothing.
He has nothing to lose, and everything for him is pretty much the same.
Right.
Same gym, same trainer, same intensity. Now it's just I don't have to worry about making weight, and in the off season I don't have to worry about not getting above a certain weight.
I talked to him last night. He said he weighs 246.
And he always stays relatively lean, too.
He's probably got shredded glutes right now.
God.
Genetics are, like, besides Phil, he's pretty close to Phil's genetics for a white guy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
I agree.
He's pretty fucking... Phil in person is just crazy, and Flex is just... It's mind-boggling how much muscle's on that guy. Like, it's like his calves, his arms, his forearm, everything. Like... The thickness of him, like no homo, it's crazy.
Dude, I went and I partied with him. It was in the beginning. It was before the Arnold Classic. It was probably like maybe 4 weeks out of the Arnold Classic. They had a Gronkowski. He had a party here in Miami, and we're both sponsored by MegaFit Meals. So I went over to that party because the owners were down here and they're friends with Gronkowski. So they're like, oh, we're going to be in Miami. We want you to come. And Flex is going to be there. So I went over there.
I fucking hate Gronk.
Oh, yeah? It was a blast, though. That party was crazy.
Oh, I'm sure.
But standing next to Flex, I can't, like, you just look at him and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, his forearms are the size of, like, my quads.
I know. He's at the myostatin.
Enormous.
The myostatin cow look on his body.
He is crazy. He has, like, cankles.
Yeah.
His calves go all the way into his heel.
Yeah, it's something special. That's what, like, now, like, you have 3 different physiques. You have Phil's, you have Brandon, and you have Flex's. And then whoever else shows up is going to be, like, Hotties. I saw Hani Ramba put a video up saying that Hottie's going to be here. I don't know how that's going to happen. So, like,
they're going to smuggle his ass.
That's what I'm saying. They can put him in, like, a fucking suitcase or something. Or they'll make him row over here in, like, a rowboat.
That'll be his cardio for the whole prep.
You know what's sick? I could see Hottie doing that. Like that's like, can you imagine his little fucking jacked ass in a canoe, like
with the beard?
Yeah, he gets like looks like Castaway when he gets to the ocean. He lands in Newark and he's like, I'm here.
This is all the cardio that I did. That's it. I didn't do cardio the whole time.
Just takes the fish out of the ocean. Just
starts eating them. He's really dangerous though too.
Where does he fall?
On stage, man, he's dangerous.
That's a scary fuck.
I mean, you could have made a case for him last year too.
I know. So now let's talk it from real quick. Let's say Phil is the clear winner, right? Come Olympia. Let's just for fuck's sakes, which is for fun. Then you have Hottie versus Brandon and Flex. Where does that go? Because I'm gonna say you let Brandon win, but Brandon won last year, I think, for a lot of reasons. I'm not gonna say. But Brandon wins because he's in the USA. Hottie's not here, let's just say, right, for fun. So now you have a chance to put Hottie in front of Brandon because now it's fight for 2 and 3. Does Hottie beat Brandon now if they show up equal again? And where does Flex go now? Because Flex has beat Hottie before in the Open. So it's like...
It's crazy.
Now, we don't even have Rolly in there, Bonac in there, Rami in there. We don't even have all those other guys in there because we don't think they're going to get here or not. They don't look like they're prepping, so I don't know, dude. It's going to be fucking weird to see that.
It's going to be wild. And at least for Phil and for Brandon, them battling it out.
Right.
That last topic that we were talking about is it's going to come down to who can tap into that mentality.
Right,
because I feel like right now they're both equally just as good, and in the same, one is coming off of an Olympia win, another one's coming off of 2 years and a loss.
Yep.
So they're like right neck and neck. Is who's going to be able to tap into that mindset? That's going to be the clear winner, I think.
Yeah, and like I remember the 1 year where I missed a show because of the fucking tricep shit. And I didn't have a year of competing, and I came back and actually did win USAs, but I remember that whole year I was like, this is hard. I remember not having a show to break it up a little bit and keep the motivation going. It's hard to Brandon's had a long time off, because it's extra calendar year, like, what I'm saying? The months pushed back, not be able to go to Kuwait when you're supposed to go there, being stuck here in this fucking place. Luckily he has a gym, and then Phil having 2 years off, hernia surgeries, 2 of them, just ups and downs of normal life shit like Brandon had too. Like, it's going to be very, like, it's a weird setting. And now we're in December competing. We're not in September anymore either. Who knows if there's going to be an audience? Like,
well, I bought my fucking ticket already, so I better be in that audience.
I'm going to be there too. I got my ticket.
Yay!
So I hope something's open.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. It's going to be interesting. And it's a new theater, too. We got a new theater. It's going to be fucking cool. A different setting, at least. More intimate, I think.
I like the fact that it's on the Strip, too. Because, dude, that place, that was a shithole.
Shithole. Died.
That was, like, you walk in and it's cigarettes. And
so old.
And it's like, the only cool thing in there is, like, if you had won the Olympia before, you're on the elevators that open.
Oh yeah, the elevators.
The rooms. It's like, I got a suite. You walk into the suite there, it looks like garbage.
Bro, the rooms are like 30 years old.
Horrible.
Yeah, it was terrible.
The worst hotel you can pick in Vegas.
I remember. You ever seen the movie Vegas Vacation?
Yes.
It literally reminds me of that. I feel like I'm in a shithole hotel, like by accident. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my parents booked it for me, and they're like, "Oh, it's so nice."
and you have to be thankful because the Olympia pays for it, like as a competitor.
Exactly.
But then you're like, well, I'm not staying there.
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna take it.
My friends that are here, I'll give them the free room.
Yeah, basically what happened.
I'm staying somewhere else. Fuck this.
Before we go into the next topic. Speaking of waist, let's talk about your waist Paragon 4.0.
Yes.
What was the point of coming out with another one?
Would you ever promise not to break?